today's show.
Did Magic Johnson just quit on the Lakers so he could tweet more? And what does this mean for Luke Walton and the franchise moving forward?
We recount a crazy Tuesday night in the NBA. Legends retiring, wild comebacks, and big game winners.
And Pacers big man Miles Turner stops by to discuss the playoffs, why he deserves Defensive Player of the Year, and Game of Thrones.
It's Wednesday, April 10th. The starter starts now.
Good evening, sweet world, and welcome to The Starters, presented by Jack Daniel's Old No. 7 and Tennessee Honey. I'm J.E. Skeets, alongside me as always, Tass Mellis. We got the Aussie, Lee Ellis, and over yonder, that's the bearded one, that's Trey Kirby.
Hey-o!
Hey-yo! Trey, what's up?
Well, I'm here at the internet looking for your best tweets at #TheStarters. And if you've seen the show in the past month or so, you know Skeets and I have a $1,000 bet on how many more tables Dwayne Wade would stand on before the end of the season. Well, Wade played his last game in Miami last night. He went for the table stand, but it didn't go quite as expected. In fact, according to Wade, that's the worst injury he's had all year. I played that many games and I haven't hurt my knee like I did trying to get up on that scorer's table, he tweeted. That's another reminder that it's time to retire. Ha ha! Ha ha indeed. But here's the question. How do we count that table stand? In fact, we've got a poll up on our Twitter page at The Starters where you can vote in that very question. How many table stands did Dwayne Wade pull off last night? But consider this. There's one for sure. Then he gets down, seems to lose his balance, tries to get back up. That one only counts as a half. We're at 1.5. After he realizes this was tragic, let's try again. He jets up gently for 2.5, but Skeets, I'll remind you, you gotta round up. Could it be 3 table stands? I don't know. I'm not saying it's 3 stands, I'm just saying consider it. And go to our Twitter page at The Starters and vote in how many table stands Dwayne Wade pulled off. What a moment.
Get your votes in. All right, on tonight's show, Pacers big man Miles Turner is going to swing by the studio. We'll discuss Wade and Dirk's little farewell tributes. That was pretty awesome. We got a very solid play. We got wedgies, but we got to start with Magic Johnson shocking everyone last night by stepping down as the Lakers' president of basketball operations in a bizarre, impromptu press conference. Magic attributed his decision to several factors. Said he didn't want to have to ask Jeannie Buss to fire Luke Walton. He's tired of the backstabbing. Said he wanted to get back to tweeting, talking to other players, instead of being accused of tampering. He said a lot. He went on for a long time, so we got to play a little true or false, the Magic Johnson edition. Trey Kirby joining us over here. First question, guys. I gave you the reasoning from Magic. True or false, do you buy what Magic was selling last night? Do you buy Magic's reasoning for resigning?
I think what he was saying, what he was getting at when he was kind of saying, I just want to Netflix and chill, I think he was saying he didn't have a passion for the job like he used to. I don't think he wants to go to France to see a prospect this April, this May. I don't think he wants to do all the things that a president should be doing. He'd rather be sort of in an ambassador advisor role. I can't blame the man. Mm-hmm. All that money, all that being that successful in business. I just think that that's past at this point, and he just wants to do that in terms of basketball. So it's probably better for the Lakers in the long run. I think that's what he was trying to say when he said, I just got to get back on Twitter a little bit more.
Yeah, Magic was an incredibly successful player. He's been an incredibly successful businessman, but this is a totally different role. And you can't just stroll into that with no experience and think that you can just sort of click your fingers and pick up the phone and call guys and have everything happen. We saw what happened. He got LeBron, incredible that he was able to do that. But then the Anthony Davis thing really was a black eye on the entire organization, the way that he handled it, the way it all came out there. And I think Magic just realized that's not really the role for him. He's not the sort of guy who does all the work behind the scenes. He's a face. He likes to be out there. He talked as well about being out in the community. He likes to just be a presence and a person who's happy and joyful. Whereas when you have to be an executive, you have to be pretty kind of nasty in a lot of ways. You know, you have to do a lot of dirty work, and that's not really what Magic, I think, wants to do. So
he just wants to be happy.
Yeah, I think I totally buy these reasons for him.
Yeah, that's why I believe in Magic as well. Work sucks. If you have a choice between having to work and being a beloved, famous millionaire, I'm taking being a famous millionaire all the time. Like you guys are saying, it wasn't just the case where Magic could show up, be Magic Johnson, and immediately have success. I think that Magic probably thought that that would be the case. A lot of people, myself included, kind of thought that would be the case. You put Magic and the Lakers back together, it's got to be a match made in heaven. It wasn't necessarily the case as we've seen so far this year and into last year. Firing people, no fun. If you want to dodge that, good time to get out.
But did Magic Johnson quit because he didn't want to do the role that comes with being the president of basketball operations with the Lakers franchise? Or did he quit because he didn't like the criticism that he's been receiving for his job that he's done so far in the 2+ years as the president of the organization. I think it could be a little bit of both.
Yeah, I think it's a
I don't
little
think
bit of
that
both.
the criticism sits well with a guy like Magic
Yeah.
Johnson is what I'm getting at here.
Yeah, no, I think it's just the nitty-gritty of the work that he didn't like. I mean,
Well, hold on. But was he really doing any
well,
of
that's
that
the
to
thing.
begin with?
That's
Wasn't
what
that Rob
That's what
Pelinka
we're
doing?
hearing.
Yeah.
That's what we're hearing, that Magic didn't sort of like to do all that stuff. He was more sort of a guy who came in on his own time and tried to do things sort of casually and then
Yeah.
keep his other business interests going. If that's true, then he's not cut out for that sort of a role anyway, and he probably didn't want that. Like we're saying, he likes to be the sort of guy who like wakes up and he goes and he helps people and he's an ambassador and he talks and he mentors younger people. And that to him is what he's more comfortable doing. When you have to go through all the other stuff that a president and GM does, it takes up a lot of time and a lot of energy. And Magic apparently just didn't really sort of have that energy to do that.
So maybe he should have never taken that role, instead taken an ambassador role, is what you're getting at.
Yeah.
Instead of being the president. He just maybe didn't know.
Part of the big issue with the Lakers that it's still run like a family business, and everybody who's part of the family works with family. There's
Yeah.
some nepotism
Yeah.
going on, and it happens. It's been happening for a long time, and that's why there's an opportunity here.
Okay, well, as weird as this might sound, true or false, the Lakers are better off without Magic Johnson doing a role that he didn't seem to want to do.
I think it's true, but I don't mean that in a derogatory way. I think Magic realised he wasn't great for this job, and now Jeannie can find somebody else who's maybe experienced and a bit more of a basketball person to operate the franchise and run the franchise the way it should be run, like any basketball team should be run. I mean, Jeannie gave Magic apparently total free rein to say, do whatever you want to do to get this team back on track and the organisation back on track. So to have that sort of power is what anyone in that job would love to have, but Magic just wasn't able to utilise it to his full advantages, again, because he's just inexperienced in that position.
I'm a little less sure that the Lakers will be better off. I think they definitely can be, but Magic, by all accounts, was instrumental in getting LeBron. He said he's the guy that goes in there and closes the deal. Getting LeBron is a huge win for Magic, even if that's the only thing he really did during his tenure with the Lakers. It's still a success because people thought Magic, Lakers, LeBron, the mystique is back. That's why the next hire is going to be key, because you're not going to have that figurehead who is a Laker legend, who is the guy who just shows up and you say, okay, yeah, I would work with him.
Right.
So depending on who the Lakers hire next in their president or GM role, yeah, they could be better, but the allure of Magic was real for a little bit.
Yeah, there's absolutely no guarantee it's going to work, but Jeannie Buss has an opportunity here. Instead of hiring somebody within the family like Magic Johnson, or like Rob Pelinka, who was Kobe's agent, or like Luke Walton, who was Phil Jackson's love child. You know, Phil Jackson, obviously a long relationship with Jeannie Buss. Hire a basketball person and start a basketball organization. That's not guaranteed to happen by any means.
And I thought it was
History says
very
it's not
weird.
gonna
I
happen.
thought it was very weird. We didn't even hear from Jeannie Buss or Rob Pelinka
that's
today.
not good.
I thought that was very strange after that sort of very weird press conference of Magic last night. All right, let's get to Luke. True or false? Luke Walton's job is now safe. I mean, he outlasted
it's
Magic.
not.
You don't think so?
No, if they hire somebody who wants to hire his own guy or her own guy, then no, definitely not.
Well, I guess we just don't know until that person comes in, because they may be a Luke Walton fan, and if he's got Jeannie's backing still, then I think it probably is safe.
Yeah, I kind of think it might be too, because I would imagine the Lakers want a little bit of stability going into this summer. They've got LeBron for another 3 years. They're going to be competing with the Clippers for free agents. They got to at least have some sort of structure where they're not saying we're starting over from scratch again.
Crazy, crazy night in the NBA. We obviously have a whole bunch more to address, including the 2 farewell tours with Wade and Dirk, and some crazy performances. We have the playoff races. A lot going on Tuesday night, and we'll try and tackle as much as we can when we come back. Don't go anywhere.
The Starters is presented by Jack Daniel's Old No. 7 and Tennessee Honey.
We talked a little Magic, but there was a whole lot more going on in the association last night. So let's play a little fill in the blank, Trey.
That's right, Skeets. It was a fun night in the NBA as we said an early goodbye to a couple of legends. After being introduced by his son Zaire, Dwayne Wade went for 33-3 in his last home game, while in Dallas, Dirk Nowitzki scored 30 in his last home game before officially announcing this was his last season. Guys, fill in the blank. My favorite goodbye moment was blank.
I'm going Dirk's post-game ceremony, specifically after the game, because I thought that was really, really cool of the Mavericks, of Cuban, to surprise Dirk. There was no doubt it was a surprise to bring out legends like Larry Bird and Charles Barkley and Scottie Pippen, Sean Kemp, Deflet Tremp, Dirk's favorite players growing up, and having them there and all talking a little bit, and then Dirk obviously taking the mic and officially announcing that he's done. I mean, I was getting a little teared up watching all that, so I'll go with the pretty obvious answer.
Dirk definitely teared up earlier in the game.
He did, yeah.
They have been receiving all sorts of video tributes all season long, Dirk and Dwayne Wade. But the one which documented all of Dirk's charity work really made him tear up. So this was my favorite moment. This really touched Dirk Nowitzki, and it is a tribute to him. Everything that he has done. It was a really, really nice video.
Uncle Dirk.
Man has done a lot.
Yeah, it was funny seeing him get so emotional last night because he's such a cool guy normally, you know, like he doesn't let those things get to him, but obviously it did touch him a little more. I'm going with the Dwayne Wade table fail because we were so looking forward to that, his last game, to see him jump up there and he just struggled.
Well, he nailed it first. Well, the crazy thing.
Yeah.
But
there was a lot on that table. I guess. On papers or something.
I know
I should have known he was coming.
I know he tweeted it, but that is the basketball god saying, hang him up, son.
Yeah.
You're not coming back.
He did handle it well, even in the moment, though,
Yeah.
when he was still had the mic in his hand and said,
I'm
used to falling down, he said.
I wish Dirk had done the same thing and jumped up on the table at the end.
You would need a ladder to get up on it. All right, Trey, next one.
Last night was one of the most fun regular season nights in memory. Besides Dirk, Dwayne, and Magic, so much happened. Steph Curry rolled an ankle. Jamal Crawford became the oldest player in league history to score 50. Donovan Mitchell had 46. Paul George and Mo Harkless both hit game winners. The Pistons and Hornets kept their playoff hopes alive. And we found out Anthony Davis has no control over what clothes he wears. Just puts on whatever somebody picks out, guys. Fill in the blank. The craziest moment last night was blank.
Jamal Crawford going for 51 points. It kind of almost
Dirk's finale.
No, he had 26 points in the fourth quarter. This is incredible. The oldest player in NBA history to go for 50. I mean, Jamal Crawford's been sort of bouncing around the league the last few years, and in this last game last night goes for 51 to try to let other teams know that he can come back for another season. He can still put up some buckets. Just incredible though. Like the mid-range game is still there.
He's so fun to watch. Still.
Yeah, he's still got the handle. He still gets that jump shot off any time, and just plays to the end.
Yep.
It was a wild night. This guy played to the end. Paul George, his game winner that he hit, that started off a missed free throw at the other end, and Russell Westbrook hustling. He's got 3 guys on him. All right, 3 guys, shut him down. Outlet, give me it back.
Yeah, I thought he was going to shoot it
Pass.
there.
He definitely
Paul George
was,
hitting that shot. Paul George, the fact that he gets a shot open when there's PJ Tucker was right there. The whole thing was just a scramble. I didn't see this coming at all.
And huge playoff seeding implications for both these
James
teams.
Harden missed the chance to win the game as well.
Yeah.
Just after that.
Yeah,
So
you're right.
that would have been.
And he was perfect at the line
Yeah.
up until that last missed free throw. I'm going to go with the Pistons, I guess, as the craziest moment last night because it was weird to see early in the night Pistons down 19, 20, 21, 22 to the Grizzlies, who weren't playing anybody.
Yeah.
And the Pistons, had to win these final 2 games to get in. They rallied. They went with Andre Drummond and a bunch of guards, and they got it going in the second half and got the win. Blake Griffin did play, but man,
Not
that
much.
knee still looks bad. He
Yeah.
only played 18 minutes. He struggled. He's doubtful for tonight. The Pistons need to beat the Knicks. Now they're playing the Knicks. That helps their chances.
Yeah, Knicks on a back-to-back too.
Yeah, and so you'd think they'd still be able to get it done, but they got to win, and the Hornets got to win, got to beat the Magic. So we still have sort of this 8th seed to be decided. But the Pistons, for a while there, I was like, oh my God, this is classic Pistons here. They're going to lose to the C team from the Grizzlies, but they got it done in the end. But that was wild. Indeed.
Yeah. Wild indeed.
When we come back, very excited. Miles Turner, Pacers big man Miles Turner, back in studio.
Miles!
To talk about the upcoming
Hey,
playoffs, who deserves Defensive Player of the Year, and so much more. You're here with the starters, and we're excited to welcome back for a 3rd time. He's one of our favorite guests, Pacers big man Miles Turner.
What's up, y'all? Glad I could be back, man.
We
Appreciate you coming on again. First things first, how's the ankle? How's the back? I know you tweaked it on the weekend.
Yeah,
Is it
man.
good to go? You're going to be playing in the playoffs here?
Yeah, no, I'm good to go, man.
Good.
It's just, it's just kind of the wear and tear of the season. Stuff happens. Ankle was just, awkward little landing thing, but, I'm good to go. I'm walking, so I can't.
Excellent, excellent. That's true. You weren't limping in here. There was nothing
Right.
like that. All right, well, you guys have locked up your first round opponent. You're taking on the Celtics this weekend when the playoffs finally get started. What's the key in your mind? I know you don't want to give away too much, but what's the key to hanging with the Celtics, to beating them
Just
in a
control
first round
we can
series?
control. Control we can control.
What do you mean by that?
So what I mean by that is like the Celtics are a good team. They got a lot of talent on this roster, but so do we. So we got to be able to keep control the game in transition. That's a big way that they score, and defensively we got to be ourselves. So just control we can control.
Are you excited for the playoffs?
I'm very excited for playoffs,
Yeah.
man. It's my 4th year, 4th time in the playoffs.
Yeah.
So, it's been an early exit for me, my first 3 years. So I'm looking to make, that adjustment this year.
Is your grandma ready for the intensity of the playoffs?
Man, she's always ready for the intensity. I think that's a lot of where my intensity comes from.
Right.
Just, my dad's the more the mellow guy, but
Yep.
you know, my grandma, his mom, she's always into it. She's been like that since the YMCA days. Always into it. I just heard the audio.
This is just a regular season game.
Regular season
I
game.
can't imagine the playoffs.
Oh man, intensity is just gonna ramp up.
Excellent. Who do you have? And you can say yourself, which is why we're asking it. Defensive Player of the Year.
Myself.
No,
100%. I don't think there's any competition in my mind. You know, I think I've had the biggest impact on my team this year. You know, you might have heard the guy Victor Oladipo. You know, we lost him,
Yes,
our best
yeah.
perimeter defender.
Yep.
You know, he went down. And I think you know, not single-handedly, obviously, but you know, I played a big role in keeping this defense a top 3 defense the entire year, #1 at one point. So.
that was
You know,
a nice one.
I'm very confident in myself, and you know, outblocked an entire NBA franchise.
That's
like,
right.
It came
That's
to my
right.
attention the other day. Like
Yep.
I was like, I mean, I'm sure it might have been done before, but I can't recall last time that's been done. So.
Was that one?
I'm changing my vote.
Was that one of your goals heading into the season, like to really focus on being an impactful player on the defensive
Yeah, well, you
side?
know, actually, it was my goal, and I think I sat down with our front office, you know, in our exit meetings last year, and they said, Miles, we need you to come in next year and just be the best defender in the NBA. If you do that, then this is going to be one of the most, you know, dominant teams in the league. And you know, barring, you know, Vic's injury, you know, some of that just kind of subsided a little bit, but. I mean, that's what I did, and that's what I focused the entire offseason on. You know, I worked my tail off. I worked a lot on just my mobility, my movement, and just my timing with everything. And I think it's really showed this season.
Well, we know who your mellow dad is going to vote for too. We saw him rocking the Miles Turner defensive
right.
player.
He took me by surprise with that one. I didn't know that was coming in, but that's my biggest fan right there.
That's
man.
a
So
great
that was,
shirt.
It was pretty dope.
We got to get that up on the starter set. We got another one of those.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's keep with the awards here. Who do you have for Sixth Man of the Year? I saw you tweeting about your guy Sabonis. You're saying convince me otherwise.
Yeah,
You
you
think
know,
it's
I'm a big Lou Will fan. I
Yep.
always have been. But what Domas has done this year, the impact that he's made on this team, I don't think we are where we are, you know, without him. You know, especially, you know, when I go down with injuries, when I go down in foul trouble, you can always rely on Domas. He's a double-double machine. You know, he's a walking bucket. I mean, I think the man just does everything. I think he averages like 4 or 5 assists. Like, he just does a little bit of everything for this team. And I mean, I feel like he has to be at least in the conversation
Right.
for Sixth Man.
And one of those assists was helping you with the headband there the one time.
Yeah.
Does that show up in the box score?
That was one of many assists. Domas has had my back ever since he's been on
That's
this
a good
team.
teammate.
Yeah, that's one of many assists right there. That's just who Domas is, man. He's a great dude, you know, great teammate, and I love. He's my brother, man. I love him.
Earlier this season, there was an incident it wasn't in San Antonio, unbelievably, but you had a bat loose in the field house there, and you tried some like karate moves, like Samurai Miles. What would you do differently? I guess is what I should ask.
One, I didn't realize Indiana had bats.
Yeah.
that was news to me. You know, coming from Austin, you know, you see the bats all the time.
Yeah.
So it was whatever. So, but no, I did a little boxing in the offseason, tried some kickboxing moves there. Didn't go the way I planned, but I think the bat had a mental image in his head, you know, not to mess with us anymore.
Right.
I haven't seen him ever since.
That's right. I love it. All right. Got to ask you about this next one. It didn't happen that long ago. Now, Reggie Jackson, he got
boy, here we
you.
go.
Okay, yeah,
He didn't
let's go
get
through.
me.
Yeah, okay, great.
A la Jeff Green. Continue.
Okay, exactly. So you get dropped because
Dropped.
Reggie, he steps on your foot. And we're starting to see a lot of this. You brought up
and
Lance
it's
has done
like-
it. Does this really count as getting dropped, in your opinion?
It does not count as getting dropped. Obviously, I'm biased in this situation, but I cut him off. He steps on my foot. Of course, my momentum's going back. So, I mean, I fell. I look at what Jeff Green did. He cut him off, played great defense, but the Bleacher Reports, the House of Highlights.
Oh, I know.
Don't get me wrong. I love you know, watching this stuff.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
Of course, they had to gas it up for the, you know, for the kids out there, or for the guys that don't really. I'm not gonna say the guys that don't know basketball, but the guys that watch it for the highlights. You know, you can see that.
you're
It's
right.
like, oh my gosh, what just happened? Oh, then it's just,
But it is funny, you see
Yeah.
it the first time in real time, and it does look like, whoa, he
Right.
just shook him, he just dropped. And then it's like, you see the replay, you see the foot get stuff, and then you're like,
Yeah.
oh, hold
it
on.
kind of, you know, it kills the excitement of it, but you know, it was a good play. I mean, he hit the shot too,
Yeah.
so I'm not knocking him, but if we're being real, he didn't drop.
All right, that's all. Yeah, because Jeff Green said, hey, look, if you want to call it a crossover,
Yeah,
you
it's
cross me.
cool.
But
Let him have it.
Exactly. All right. Well, final one here. We saw you also tweeting a little bit about Game of Thrones. It returns
Game of Thrones guy.
this weekend. Yeah. Do you have any Game of Thrones predictions for us? Where do you see it going? Who do you see dying? Whatever.
It's hard, man. I've read so many theories, but this is like an ongoing thing in our training room. All the trainers watch it, some of the players watch it. My prediction is, and this is, I have to give a shout out to Dr. Phil. This is his prediction. I took it from him. He thinks that Arya Stark is gonna have a big role in this because she's part of the no face people.
Yep.
The no face follows the no face god or whatever. So I feel like she's gonna end up messing up Cersei or killing Cersei or killing them off and then like posing as her brother. We know her brother and a little bit of a fallout.
Yep.
So she's posing as her brother. Then after she stabs her, she's gonna do
Kill
that
it
and
off.
cross her list off.
There it is. Miles Turner calling his shot. He's calling his shot when it comes to Game of Thrones, calling his shot in the playoffs. Thank you so much for coming back on,
Yeah,
man.
appreciate you guys.
Really
man.
appreciate it.
Thanks, Miles.
Best of luck in the playoffs.
Thank you.
Truly mean that. All right, when we come back, a whole bunch more of the starters. Don't go anywhere.
Welcome back to the starters, and we welcome a man who's tied a couple important records just recently. 21st season record tying, also third time on the starters.
Yes, wow, give it up for that.
The more important one, Vince.
That's legendary.
Thanks for coming on again.
Absolutely, it's always a pleasure being on.
Really appreciate it. Let's talk about a guy who's in his first season, and Trae Young, who's really evolved since the beginning of the year. Talk about how far along he's come and his potential for winning the Rookie of the Year trophy.
Tell you what, I always say for young guys, you don't want them to have too much success in the beginning. And I guess I say that now that I've been around long enough, and I say that because seeing Trae struggle early made him a little hungrier and focus a little more. And he wanted, I think he believed he was good enough. He just had to show it and figure it out. We also have to think that he's playing the point guard position, which is probably the toughest position as a young guy to come in and have the keys and run an offense. Because if your goal is trying to win the Rookie of the Year, you want to show that you can score, obviously, and be a dominating player, but you still have a job to do as far as getting your guys involved. Yeah. And his ability to pass is obviously second to none already. And he just had to figure out how to kind of run an offense and run a team. And once he figured that out, everything else would take care of itself, and he's done that.
Well, let's talk about your future. I know during the broadcast this past week you said you're going to try and make things happen during the summer and sign on for a 22nd year. A little while ago, you said in practice you were thinking about retiring, according to Chris.
It changes like the weather.
So,
Believe me, every other game it's like, oh my God, this is good.
so what's today like? What are you thinking about next year?
No, today I'm feeling good. I feel like I'm gonna give it another shot. Give it another shot next year. I feel good, and obviously I will assess my season and how I'm feeling at the end of the actual season.
Right.
And I try to decide early in the summer because when you're in your 40s, you want that phone to ring as soon as possible.
Oh, I know.
Not as late as possible. So
Right.
it's just a blessing to be able to receive phone calls from teams that are interested in you at that age. So, I try to just assess and make my decision rather quickly and go for
Somebody's
a
going to
little
be calling you, Vince,
We hope
for your
so.
22nd.
Yeah.
We don't know who,
We
but
never
someone's
know.
going
Exactly.
to be.
I just hope so. I mean, I prepare, and I will prepare
Right.
as if I'm starting my 22nd season, and until that phone call happens, I will be ready to go.
It's been a good year for you, though.
It's been great, man.
Hitting shots and still throwing down a few dunks as well. Like,
you just got to sprinkle some dunks in. That's all. Make sure the jump shot works, and staying healthy and staying in shape. I tell you, when you're playing with guys that are half your age, for me, it's a lot that goes into it, and a lot of preparation, and I make sure I get my rest and I stretch and do all of the things that I need. My laundry list of things I do, I try to stick to it. But my love for the game kind of gets me over the hump.
You're balling. You're on the TV broadcast. You're also doing the podcast, the Wayne podcast with Andy Finberg and Ken Bazemore. Who is your dream guest to have on the podcast?
Oh, man, I don't know. It's just we're all over the place as far as we're just trying to get. It's gonna sound weird. The most interesting people we can because we want to learn. I mean, we've gotten the Gary Owens of the world and Chris Tucker, and then we've gotten DeMar DeRozan and some great athletes who bring in some great content and great stories. So, I definitely like to get my friends on there. All of my friends, like Shaq is a goal of ours. Denzel Washington, Martin Lawrence, and Will. I know they're in town filming, so hopefully we can catch that out.
Yeah,
I'm throwing that out here. I'm using you guys.
Sure. Yeah. Hey.
Help, but no, that's what we want to get some, and we're going to continue to try to grab some of the athletes, and not even just the big name athletes, but some of the athletes that have some interesting stories that we want to get out there, because I think it's important for that young kid that's listening who feels like they have to go and be the the Trae Young and LeBron James with the big name instead of someone who's taken a different path and still has had a great career. So we want to kind of bring that to light as well.
Well, speaking of great athletes, Dwayne Wade hanging it up.
Yeah, he's pretty good.
He's pretty good. He's very good. What's your favorite Dwayne Wade memory throughout his 16-year career?
Man. We had him on the podcast. So one of the great stories he told us is the night he dunked on Verjao when he just wore, I think he was with Jordan for the first time.
Right.
And MJ was in the building. So that was kind of a memorable because when he was telling that story, we remember that. And he was just like excited. And like, this is how you do it because I guess LeBron had tried to dunk on one of the guys the play before, which he didn't talk about, but I knew what it's all about. And he also pulling that off, he said in front of MJ. It was just pretty cool. So, I mean, he has so many legendary moments. Obviously, his play in the finals for their first championship was unbelievable. His ability to get to the free throw line and pull off a championship like that. So, we'd be here all day.
Well, we got to get going, actually, but it does suck. But quick prediction on the Hawks season next year. Do you think they make the playoffs?
If Vince is on the team.
Whoa, there it is. There it is.
There it is. That's how you get called back for another
That's
year.
how you get a call back.
Yeah, exactly.
Record-setting season number 22 for Vince Carter, most likely next year. 100%. Come on.
Lock it up.
We've got a lot to come on the starters. Stay tuned.
What time is it? Crunch time. That's right, crunch time tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern on NBA TV. Wrap up the final night of the season with 3 hours of crunch time. Yes, right. Woo! All right, we had a poll going for you. How many table stands did Wade technically do last night? Trey, what do the people say?
Controversial results, Skeets. 42% of people say it was 2 table stands. 26% say 3. Either way, you're paying up, buddy.
How are those 13% saying 0?
He did stand on a table.
yeah.
Doesn't really
Crazy.
make sense.
VSP.
Yeah, it's a beautiful one here from the Raptors. Ball just keeps moving around and around and around. Still going. Ends with Jody Meeks wide open for a
Jody.
3-point swish bomb. That is what I call a very solid play. So solid, in fact, I even had a shirt made
Wow.
for it.
Oh, look at
Check
that.
this out. You can go and get yours at homage.com. 25% off right now, so they're virtually giving them away, Skeetsy. I want to see you in one tomorrow for our award show, the Starty Show. Okay. Look at these, beautiful.
They're very
What a
nice.
gift.
Is that the
Very
flex
nice.
offense right
Very
there?
solid shirt.
We had 2 wedgies in one night.
Yes.
Can you believe it?
We're going to do it, man.
Brandon Knight didn't hit one on his first attempt, so he hit one on his second.
Never
Good
give
one.
up on the wedgie.
That's right.
Brandon, coming through. It's maybe his second wedgie of the season.
Second
Then
from this year.
Rudy
This
Gobert.
was weird. This one's crazy.
Trying to
Oh,
dunk it,
wow.
but it just so gently falls in there
Yeah.
and nestles in there.
Beautiful.
Nestly wedgie. 42 on the year.
All right. We are up to 42. 8 to go. 8 to go. Tomorrow's Thursday. Yeah, we got a drop podcast. It's going to be our playoff preview drop podcast. I'm sure we'll talk a little Magic as well and anything crazy that happens in the final night of the regular season. So keep your eyes and ears open for that one. And also on Thursday, it's the Starties.
Woo!
Hosted once again by Kristen Ledlow, handing out all of our NBA awards, all of our starters awards. That's an hour-long show at 6 p.m. Eastern tomorrow, Thursday. All right, fan sign.
This is Matthew, who said, my sign was so solid they told me not to bring it in. You can fit anything in if you fold it. It was then later confiscated along with my marker. Hopefully this will make it worth it.
Yeah, way to go.
Great
buddy.
job. This is Michael and Lowry. As Skeets would say, this is a pivotal game. Beautiful sign there, guys.
That's-
Great
wow.
job. This is the Fresh Prince of Minnesota watching Dwayne Wade's last game.
Great signs, guys. We'll see you tomorrow for the Starties, 6 p.m. Eastern.